With chapter 60 and 61 of Record of Ragnarok finally out, we continue the battle between Hades versus Qin Shi Huang. And not only that, that's our main focus, but we also are able to see the influence of Poseidon that Hades has for him, because Hades does his own interpretation of Poseidon towards the end of chapter 61. But not only that too, we get a surprise appearance from a special god that we thought that he died during a backstory of Poseidon's life. But all of this is happening in these two chapters of Record of Ragnarok, and we begin with chapter 60 while we finishing up Qin Shi Huang's backstory and how he was able to develop the star technique because he endured so many pains and countless battles during his past. And during those battles, he was able to develop that technique to the point where he is able to enough to go and fulfill his fulfillments, and is also the promise that he did to his mentor. And then during that brief moment, we see a conversation between Hades and Qin Shi Huang, while Hades says, "Don't make fun of me. You don't call yourself the greatest king." Then Qin Shi Huang comes back with saying that the king of the Neverworlds, you are strong, but I promise someone that I will be the greatest king. And we see Qin Shi Huang, he start doing his pose, and as he's doing his pose, we see a silhouette of his mentor right beside him, and he says, "So I cannot lose to anyone." And as that's going down, the announcers is started to announce that he cannot believe that the king of the underworld is being pushed back against the wall by Qin Shi Huang. Thanks to Qin Shi Huang's martial arts, his secret abilities, and his divine weapon, which is called Army of the Garden, he was able enough to actually put up a fight against Hades. And we see Brunhilde is actually smiling through the results that she's actually seen. So we go to the god sides while we go and focus on Ares and Hermes. So Hermes, he goes and he's amazed by the fact that the abilities of Qin Shi Huang's, with the air bullets hitting the key points, the attacks are weakened and the defense are shattered. And Ares is stating that that air attack is no big deal. So he was just like, I don't know what's the whole big fuss about. So Hermes, he's trying to explain to Ares that, hey, that air bullet, no matter what, is unavoidable. So even if it hits you, it pretty much is too late by the time that you notice it, because you're already going to be hit by it, and the effects of the air bullet is already going to take full effect. So it's most likely that you won't see anything. So no matter how much is your speed, your power, your combat, your experience, no matter what, if that air bullet hits you, you're done. So Ares, he is just angry about what did Hermes said. But all of a sudden Zeus comes up and he says that speed, power, combat, and experience, Hades is more experienced and more superior at this. But for some odd reason, this dude Qin Shi, he is that nigga. This man is the man, because he is able to stand up against Hades, a human. So we get cut back into the fight between Hades and Qin Shi, while Hades, he's look at his blood and he's just like, a promise that you will never lose, right? But I also have something that I want to protect, my oath. So he jumps in front of Qin Shi, and Qin Shi, he's already getting ready to do his air bubbles attack. So Hades is like, I'm not falling for that. So he starts twisting his spear into making it windshields, so that way the air bubble will fully be dissolved. So while that's happening, Qin Shi, he is just like surprised that that technique actually worked. So Hades goes ahead and he strikes, but Qin Shi was able to block the attack and dodge it. And so while he was able to block and dodge, he didn't able to see the kick or the knee that's going to go straight into the face. And so, but luckily, Qin Shi was able to block Hades' knees, and as he was able to block Hades' knees, all of a sudden he got pushed back. And as he was able to push back, Hades was about to go ahead and throw his spear at Qin Shi, but Qin Shi used his air bubbles and was able to hit on the shoulder of Hades. And then suddenly Hades, he couldn't move because all of a sudden used one of his strongest technique, and he actually kicked Hades, chopping off a piece of his wrist and his arm. And Hades is just looking at the missing pieces from like his hands, arm, and wrist. And he's in just disbelief and just how powerful. And he says, even though you're a human, you made it this far, huh? I'm going to kill you, but first I want to say this to you, that you were magnificent. And then as we see the two warriors just stare at each other smiling, and then we go into the next chapter where we see that we're in the lab of Beelzebub, and it looks like he is creating one of his creations of his monsters while watching the fight between Qin Shi Huang and Hades. So the monsters is sick and tired of seeing Beelzebub, so he goes ahead and tries to attack him. But Beelzebub, he's just unfazed. He was just like, oh, you're just a worthless failure, because after saying that, an arm is coming off of the monster. So the monster is just like, oh, okay, I'm coming after you, mystery man. So he goes after the mystery man, but the mystery man already stopped him. He already grabbed him by the face and just literally obliterated him, saying that, man, don't even try it, bro. You just done. So after he obliterated this monster, the mask comes out, and then it revealed itself to be Adamas, the Greek god that Poseidon has killed, the god that was forgotten and that was written off of the history books. He actually made an appearance, which was very, very surprising. And it looks like Hades and Beelzebub, they actually helped revive Adamas back to life and gave him a new body, because we see that Beelzebub is saying that, okay, if this body failed, Hades is going to kill me. So it just kind of looks just very, very sus that the fact that Hades went behind the back of the other gods, and how he's kind of just saying like how he looks up to Poseidon, but yet you revive the enemy that Poseidon had killed, which is very, very weird. So something is going down between, like, you know, Hades and the gods and Beelzebub and this whole dynamic stuff. But overall, we go ahead and we see that Adamas, he is saying that, why are you creating these monsters? You're creating these powerful monsters. And there we see that Beelzebub, he just says that, I'm creating these monsters because I want one of them to be strong enough to actually kill me. Bro, that is such a flex that Beelzebub, he's creating these monsters because he's trying to find a creation that will actually kill him. That is 100% crazy. And then so at this current moment, we just see Adam, he's just looking at, like, he's just like, bro, like, that is just crazy. Like, bro, like, you a psychopath. So he goes ahead and he's watching the fight between Qin Shi Huang and Hades. And he was just like, man, I'm not worried about my brother. He was just like, he is the king of the underworld. He will not lose at any circumstances at all. And besides, he's the elder brother. So in the crowd of the humans, everyone is just cheering for Qin Shi after that last attack. And we see the child and his bodyguard, his mentor, cheering for him and saying that, after all, he is our king. And we see Qin Shi Huang, he is just smiling because he was able to do one attack. So Hades, he goes and he calls Qin Shi Huang and he says, allow me to acknowledge you once again. You are worthy to be a king. Therefore, the king of the underworld, I must also respond to you accordingly. So he grabbed his spear and he cut his chest, and everyone is just looking at Hades like, bro, you crazy. Like, what the hell is going on? Like, why are you cutting your chest? And we see blood just spattering everywhere. And then all of a sudden, Zeus said, I have forgotten. I know of no other god as confident as he is. He is willing to sacrifice everything to win. This is the king of the dead. And so everyone is just like, bro, like, what the hell is going on? Like, what is he doing? And then all of a sudden, he's doing the same pose and the same posture as Poseidon. And we see a silhouette of Poseidon, while we see that Hades, he's stretching his arms and he is just posing. And he grabbed a piece of his blood and he mirrors him in front of his face while smiling. And that's just how the chapter ends for Record of Ragnarok chapter 61, man. This is just crazy. So we know that the next chapter, Hades, he's going to go all out. We're going to actually probably see a backstory of Hades, and we're going to probably get to a better understanding of Hades as his character. And so there's going to be a lot of factors that's going down. But other than that, let me know down in the comment section how you guys feel about this chapter. Are you guys hyped? Are you guys ready to see what's going to happen in the next chapter? Let me know. If you guys do like the video, please give it a like, subscribe, and remember, always be decent. This is the Monto Man. I hope you guys have a wonderful day and be safe out here.